Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining in and welcome to the live session with Manifold AI Learning. My name is Nachiket Murthy and I'll be your host for this today's session. So, first of all, guys, thank you so much for taking your time and joining with me on this webinar. Like, you could have done anything, like, you would have spent time with your family or you would have just chilled with the Netflix, but you chose to join with me today on this webinar to understand more about this AWS AI certification that we have got. Now, this shows that you're someone who is committed to your learning journey, and I want to thank you for taking your time to joining with me on this live webinar, guys. So, first of all, let me just start by helping you understand, okay, what are the things that you could expect as we progress in today's session. Okay, so we'll go through as we progress in today's session. So the first thing that I'll take you through is before I speak about anything. So let me just set the agenda as what are the things that we'll be covering as we progress in today's live session. See, as we progress in today's live session, my goal is to help you get certified in this AWS AIF C01 certification. Now, that's the goal. Now, I want to help you in your learning journey. So, what are the things that I'll be taking you through? So, I'll be taking you through about how you would prepare for your domain and what kind of questions that you can expect for this AWS Cloud Practitioner Foundational certification, and what are the best practices that you need to follow in order to increase your chances to clear the certification examination in the first attempt itself. And for the learners who will be with me till the end, there's also a special gift for you at the end. So, like the special gift is, even though you may not have registered for the bootcamp, so you'll be getting, like, if you stay with me till the end, I'll show you as how you can actually get the access to the first two live classes as well, only if you stay with me till the end. And this is a special gift. Now, let me remind you for the registered learners, so this is not the first session. The first session or the initial session is starting from tomorrow. Okay. So this is more of an information session to help you understand what you can expect in this examination. You'll have a separate orientation session. I'll walk you through the LMS and all those things in the next session. So this session is open for everyone to give you a guidance as how you can actually prepare your learning journey or how you can prepare yourself for this one of the most sought after certification from AWS, that is AWS Cloud Practitioner Foundational Certification. So that's the core agenda of this session, guys. So is all of you clear with the agenda? If yes, please type in yes in the chat window. Perfect, guys. Thank you so much, Rajesh, Rachita, Preekshit, VJ. Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone, for being so responsive. Okay. Uh, Deeksha, excellent, guys. Saurabh, okay. Thank you so much, guys, for your response. So now that this is clear, so let's move to the next step. So the next thing is, what are the basic ground rules of this session? Okay. So here, the overall planned duration is for 2 hours. We might finish early as well. So I would recommend you to take notes. If you there are some things that I'll be helping you to understand what kind of questions that you would expect. So I suggest you to take notes so that you can use those notes and implement it in your learning journey so that you can get the most of the learning journey that you are with me today. And whatever the questions that you might have, I'll be taking up those questions at the end. So only on the first part is I want to deliver the best as what I have prepared and what I have planned for this today's session. So that would be the initial part. And as I mentioned, at the end, I'll take up all the questions that you might have. Okay. So that's the key thing that I wanted to highlight, guys. Now, moving on. The next thing is let's understand, why do we require an AI certification and why is it important right now? Now, that's a one common question I'm sure most of you would be thinking as, what's so special about this AI certification? Like, is it really required for me in this point of my career? Because I'm doing well in my career. You might be thinking, as I'm doing well in my career, I'm being paid well, and I'm an experienced professional. Maybe I'm actually working, it's really working out well, but is it really required for me? So let's take a look into the few important statistics that which is about the AI. So PwC have estimated that the AI could contribute up to $15.7 trillion to the global economy by 2030. Imagine the financial impact that this AI has, and which makes it one of the biggest commercial opportunities in today's economy. So, this is a time for you to enter this AI field because this is the time where everyone is in exploring phase. The more early that you would start, the more advantage that you would have as this AI improves. As you know, that each and every day we see better and better models that are coming in. And OpenAI, they have released a new model as well, which actually beats its predecessor. So that clearly shows the way in which the AI is progressing. And we might achieve, and this AI could actually contribute to more than what PwC has estimated. So that means I would say today is the day that, like, if you ask me when is the right time to start, I'll say today is the right time to start your learning journey with AI. And there has been a report from Accenture which reported that companies investing in AI could boost their profitability by an average of 38%. And we have already seen its impact these days. Like more and more companies are embracing the AI. They are embracing the capabilities of large language model in various domains, whether it is chatbot, whether it is helping the customers in finding the right product or providing the L1 support. So most of the things that were being handled manually, now they have made it efficient by making use of large language models and generative AI. Now that means in order to stay and in order to ensure that we are future proof, so it's very important that we get ourselves a required knowledge to be able to work in this upcoming AI boom that we are seeing right now. And the latest report by PayScale, it has suggested that people with AI certification can earn up to 20 to 30% higher salaries than their non-certified counterparts. Now, which makes it an essential thing in order to, like, for you to get certified from a credible source so that you can you can actually increase your chances of earning power. And the recent research by Forrester, it has predicted that the automation and the AI technologies will create new job categories which don't exist today. I mean, who would have thought that prompt engineering would be a role 5 years back? Now we see more and more companies, like especially the beginner roles, are having the roles on the prompt engineering. So what it shows us, this clearly shows as a professionals working in this domain of software engineering or working in IT industry, it's not a time to complain about, hey, the field is going faster. Now, this is a time for us to continuously learn, get ourselves certified to ensure that we are ready for the future so that we can take care of our family, which is what important to us. Because for most of us, salary is one of the important criteria, and ensuring that we stay relevant in the upcoming boom that we are seeing will ensure that we are able to provide best for our family, and more importantly we are able to increase our earning power, which is a good personal growth as well. So that's the reason that the certification in AI is very important right now. Now, here, before I share you as how how you can actually prepare. So I'll just give you a few introduction about me. Like I'll just give you a quick introduction about me, guys, as how it actually has started for me. I'm sure most of you do not know more know about me. So I'm actually a graduate in industrial production engineering, which makes it I'm someone who is from non-coding background. Okay, I'm not a coder. From the, I'll say, education standpoint, I'm not a coder. So I've graduated in industrial production engineering. So there was always a thing that my father used to say. My father used to say, like it was in, I think it was in engineering first year. He was saying one thing: don't let your education to be confined to the college. I mean, I was busy in my college with labs, studies, fun. I mean, all these were going fine. And he was always saying one thing: don't keep the college as the only way that you would uh, you would get the education or you would get the learnings. Now, what has happened was, like, while all these were happening, accidentally, at that time when I was in second year of engineering, I came across a YouTube channel like which was very popular at that time. That's the new Boston. I mean, he was the guy. I think his name was Bucky Roberts, and he was the one. He was teaching the people on Java programming, HTML. Like, he was actually into the Java programming. Now, I'm sure like people who were actually born in 90s, 91s, like around 2013 or 2012, like this new Boston channel was very famous. And that's where I got introduced to programming. And I started exploring the programming and I started building the application with Java programming. And that's how it started. And when I shared this to my dad and said that, okay, hey, I'm actually learning the programming through the internet, he said me one powerful thing which stayed with me. And he said that the true essence of learning is in the pursuit and not the institution. And this is what I carry forward till the day, where this is what has actually helped me to learn new technologies, to ensure that I'm able to learn, and my learning is not confined to the institution, or my learning is not confined to the job role that I'm performing, because the true essence of learning is in the pursuit and not the institution or not the work that we would do. And that's how we actually work, or we actually uh, like create the content in Manifold AI Learning as well. So that's how, like, that's the vision of Manifold AI Learning as well. And if I want to give you as what's the core vision of Manifold AI Learning, well, I'm sure everyone would agree with me as of now. The current education system that we have got, it's not equipped right now to create the leaders for future, especially in this growing field of AI. Now, my mission is to empower 1 million professionals and leaders by providing the transformative AI education and mentorship, which would foster a community that builds the AI solution to serve humanity. Now, I'm on a mission to do this, and that's where I would require your help. So, together, we will be able to redefine the learning and the upskilling in AI so that we can create the global network of future leaders who are going to drive the positive change and the innovation through technology. Now, as a Manifold AI Learning, so this is the code of honor that we stand by. The first code of honor is commit to growth. Always strive for personal and professional development. This is what the main thing that Manifold AI Learning community stands for. And we support for each other. So we always believe in fostering the collaborative and encouraging environment. Embrace innovation, be open to new ideas and creative solutions, act with integrity. So we always maintain honesty and highest ethical standards, proactively apply the learning and contribute to the community, and recognize and honoring the achievement within the community. So these are the key code of honor of Manifold AI Learning. Now, if any of this doesn't match with your values, so I would say that I'm sure, like, if it doesn't match with me, so I would say that you'll not be able to learn better from Manifold AI Learning, and you can actually feel free to drop. You can actually look forward from the other communities. But this is what we stand for, and this is the mission and the vision of Manifold AI Learning. Now, now that you have know about what's our vision and what is the higher purpose, now let's come back to our topic in discussion. When we talk about getting certified in AWS, I'm going to talk about the common problems which I have faced in my learning journey. And these are the common things that everyone would face in their learning journey of any certification. So one of the like if I want to list down some of the problems that are actually being faced during the examination preparation. So the first problem that anyone would face during the certification journey or the examination preparation or even in upskilling is the broad scope of content. If you think about the AWS certification, or even if you have checked the study guide, the scope of content is huge. I mean, it says about machine learning, it says about prompt engineering, data engineering, data pre-processing activity. It talks about working with the data, transforming the data, applying the generative AI to the use cases, security. So the scope of content is broad, and because of that, whenever you're doing or like when we think about preparing for the examination, which has got such broader scope of content, so we will feel lost. I mean, I've personally felt the same, and if you have felt that, I'll be with you and I'm with you guys. I have personally felt the same as well during my learning journey. The other problem that we would see when we are preparing for the examination preparation is limited hands-on experience. So when we think about the overall content of AWS certification examination, first of all, the content itself is huge, and each and every concept has its own hands-on. And it's very difficult to say for which topic we need actually hands-on knowledge, and for which topic it's we require, I'll say, a theoretical knowledge. It's very difficult to say as which one is that, and that itself will take us struck in our learning path. And the other one is the complexity of examination question. And I'm sure you might have seen some of the posts from the other learners as well, or other people who have actually cleared the certification. The Even though it's a foundational level that AWS claims, but the difficulty of that particular, like of this particular examination is actually little higher than what you would expect in the foundational or the associate level. Now, this makes it even challenging when you are preparing as a learner, when you are preparing for your learning journey. Like you'll not be like we'll be thinking as, okay, after doing this preparation, is my preparation, will it be sufficient for me? I mean, will be sometimes even after preparing, will not be able to will not find the confidence to pay the examination fee and appear for the examination. I have personally felt that during my learning journey. And another challenge that we would face is time management during the examination. So in some cases, because the questions are so tricky, so by thinking about for a single question, so we'll be losing the time. And at the end, we might not be able to give the best for all the questions that we would come across. So time management is another common issue that we would face whenever we are appearing, especially for the certificate-based examination. And keeping up with the AWS update. So with latest updates, with latest product launches and the innovations that are happening with AWS, keeping in track and keeping up with those updates that would happen, that's also a challenging one. And the another challenge is lack of motivation and incompletion of courses. I'm sure you would agree with me. I'm sure even if you check your Udemy account, you'll have thousands of courses which will be lying on your account. And if you look into the completion rate, like hardly you might have completed 5 to 10%. So I'm sure most of you would agree with me. And I myself have done that as well. Even though I'm a content creator, I have created my courses. There have been some courses which have been top performing, and there have been few courses where the completion rate is 5 to 10%. So whatever the challenges that I'm sharing right now, so I'm sure most of you would uh, like associate with me, and I'm sure most of you would feel like, okay, these are the common challenges that we would face. And even I myself have faced these challenges, and I'll show you about the key principles that have actually helped me to come across these challenges. These are all I've came across all these challenges, and my journey is like I've just applied these three principles which I was able to learn from my mentors. Here, one of the key principles that I learned is the accountability. Having an accountability system will ensure that we will be able to complete the whatever the learning journey that we would take it, will be able to complete it in an best possible manner that's possible. And celebration of small victories. So this, I would say, a most essential one, especially if you are starting for the new journey that we would have. And the last one is the community support. So having a friend or having someone who is going through the same process like us definitely will help us to stay on track, keep motivated, support each other, and be able to complete the overall whatever the new learning challenge that we might have taken. And these are the three things that I've learned from my mentors, and I'm able to experience it throughout my journey, throughout my certification, throughout my teaching, or throughout my career as well. And that's what I would normally stand for whenever we are working in our community. And these are the key areas that we always focus on and give importance in our community. Now, here, now that you have learned about what are the key things that we would need, the top three principles that you would need to succeed in the examination. Now let's understand. Let's review the overall examination syllabus that we have got for this AWS AI certification examination. So I'm going to open the official page from AWS. So this is the examination guide that has been shared to us. All right. So here in this overall certificate examination preparation, if you take a look at it, the expectation of this examination is you have to understand the AI, ML, generative AI concepts, methods, and what are the strategies in general, and how you would apply all these things on the AWS environment. And the other expectation is understanding the appropriate use of AI ML technologies so that you can actually work with those services in an effective way and be confident in at least suggesting the solution and how you can use the AI, ML, and generative AI technologies in a responsible manner. Now, apart from these core concepts, as a candidate, should be familiar with the AWS services. The key AWS services which should be familiar are EC2, S3, Lambda, SageMaker, and some of the core services based on the use case that has been listed below. And you should be aware of the shared responsibility model for security and compliance in the AWS cloud. Should be familiar with the AWS IAM, that is Identity and Access Management, for securing and controlling the access to AWS resources. You should be familiar with AWS Global Infrastructure, which includes the concept on regions, availability zones, and edge location, and familiarity with the pricing models that we have at AWS. Now, they have actually introduced three new formats from this examination. The first format is called as the ordering. So the kind of questions that you would expect in this ordering. So like if I start from first, the first one we have got is the multiple choice question. So the multiple choice question is a straightforward format which have been followed from the AWS from start. So for a single question, you'll have multiple choices. You have to choose a single correct answer out of the available option. That's the multiple choice. And we have got a multiple response. Now, in the case of this multiple response, for a single question, you will have, I'll say, two or three correct answers out of four or five options. So you have to select, like to give an example, you have to select two correct questions out of five options that you have been given. So this type of question is called as multiple response question. And from this time, they have introduced a new type that's called as the ordering type. So what is this ordering type? I'll give you a very simple example. So The question would start something less. You are an AI developer and you're working on a data set, like you're working on a tabular data, and you have decided to apply the classification to understand the churn rate of the customer. Now, this is a typical case of classification. Now, the question would typically ask, so you'll have, like when they mention this, then they will say it as, so you will first, you will say, it will say you will first, and then there will be dash. And this dash is like a drop box. So the first option that you would choose is maybe you will load the data set and perform the pre-processing. That is the option that you have to select. Okay, so that is one case. Or the other cases, you will have various steps. Okay, you'll have pre-processing, you'll have feature engineering, applying the model, and hyperparameter. So like this, you'll have various steps named. And then the expectation is you have to order those steps in a right manner. So that is called as an ordering type of question. And the next one is the matching. So in the examination pattern that I have taken, so like I got only one question which was related to matching. So it was like I think it's actually the one that I have described earlier. First, they will mention the use case, and there will be like a fill in the blanks. So you have to match for each question what is the right answer. So that is the kind of an activity, or that's the type of question that I had got for matching category for this AI examination. And the last one is the case study. Now, personally, I have not got the case study for this AWS AI practitioner examination. So I got the case study based in the machine learning associate examination, which was also a latest launched by AWS. So, but I'll give you a background about this case study. So in the case of this case study, what would happen is you'll be provided with a use case. Okay, they'll describe, okay, as a AI developer, you're working on a specific task and you are using the AWS Bedrock in building the chatbot. Now, based on this case study, they're going to ask a question as, if you're using this AWS Bedrock, how do you ensure that this data that is stored by this AWS, like by this S3 bucket, which are used by different department, how do you ensure that one department will not have the access to the data of another department? That's a one question. And the another question can be something as, based on the same use case, how do you take care of the PII, that is personal information that is present in the data set? Or how do you prevent the prompt leakage? So based on a single use case, you will have multiple questions that you need to answer. Now, this kind of question comes under the case study. Okay, as I mentioned, I got only uh, one question each for ordering and matching, and case study, I didn't get it. So if I remember correctly for this AI examination, but that's the overall idea that it depends on, maybe it depends on the paper or the series as well, or like when I've actually taken this examination when it was launched for the first time during the beta phase when they announced the date. On the same date, I had booked and I got the date around 23rd or something in the last month. Okay, that's how my examination was. Okay, these are the type of questions that you could expect in this examination. Now, here in this overall examination. So just like any AWS certificate, you'll be getting the 100 to 1000, you'll be getting the scores between 100 to 1000, and the minimum passing score is 100. Okay, that's the expected one. So the important thing that you have to focus on now is the domain. So now that you're aware about the type of questions that you can expect, the domain is another important one. So the first domain, it's about fundamentals of AI and machine learning. So when I say fundamentals of AI and machine learning, it's about knowledge of machine learning, knowledge of deep learning, the basics of working with text data, that is natural language processing, the algorithms, the concept of training, inference, bias, fairness, overfit, underfit, and the basic idea about large language model. And what's the difference between AI, ML, deep learning, types of AI model, like in which scenario, what kind of data do we use, supervised machine learning, unsupervised machine learning, delay and tabular data, time series data, and in for what kind of data, for what model is actually suitable, or for what methodology is suitable, and the supervised machine learning, reinforcement learning, and the other one is for a given use case, which task is most suitable. And another thing that you also have to remember is it's not just about the core machine learning stuff. You should also be aware about which AWS services are actually relevant for that particular act. Let's say you are dealing with the text to voice, then in such scenario, which AWS service can actually be used? Or if you're dealing with voice to text, then which AWS service can be used in order for you to use it in your solution? So that's what it says. Explain the various capabilities of AWS managed AI/ML services like SageMaker, Transcribe, Translate, Comprehend, Lex, Poly. So you should be having the idea about how each of these services can be used in building the solution. Then the core machine learning knowledge, such as the EDA, pre-processing, feature engineering, model training, hyperparameter tuning, evaluation, deployment, monitoring. So these are the other things, and also the methods of deploying the models. So self, like the API serve, like what kind of deployment models? Is it batch? Is it real time? And what are the ways that you would use it in production? And the services that you could use it in each and every stage, like SageMaker, Data Wrangler, SageMaker Feature Store, Model Monitor. So if you ask me, from the AWS AI certification standpoint, you have to place more attention to the AWS Bedrock. So even though having a knowledge of the SageMaker is important, but I would recommend you to focus more on the AWS Bedrock, because these services, especially that you would see right here, so it has got high importance in machine learning examination compared to the this AI certification that we are discussing. So having a knowledge is important, but deep dive is not necessary on these topics that you would see right here. Okay, and the basics about MLOps and the knowledge about the various metrics. So let me tell you this. So before you go to the examination, ensure that you look into the confusion matrix and various components that you have inside this confusion matrix and how to interpret it. So you can easily, like most of the learners that I've asked and my colleagues that I've asked, so at like they have got at least one question on the topic of confusion matrix. So knowledge of the metrics in machine learning model is very important. And you should also be aware as in which scenario, which metric that we need to use it. Okay, so that takes care of the core aspect or the core knowledge of the AI and machine learning, that is from the domain one. Then we have the domain two, which is fundamentals of generative AI. So here, I'll say this is one of the important modules, because most of the topics that you would see in this domain two is having an overlap with the other domains as well. So here the expectation is you should be aware about what is the foundational generative AI concept, which means tokenization, working with text data, working with embedding vectors, the how embedding vectors are generated, the intuition behind the same, working with generative AI models, prompt engineering, transformer-based LLMs, foundation models, and what are the AWS services that we have got that would help us to store the vector embeddings, and how like what are multimodal models, multimodal LLMs, the knowledge of the like the knowledge of the cycle as how it would follow whenever you're building the generative AI based solution, and what kind of advantages that we would get with generative AI, what are the disadvantages of generative AI, which means hallucination, interpretability, inaccuracy, and how do you uh, interpret the response, and how do you measure the effectiveness of the large language model, and how we can make use of foundation models and use it on the other domains, cross domain performance, and the other aspects is, as I mentioned, so the important services which are relevant for generative AI application: SageMaker Jumpstart, Bedrock, Party Rock, Playground, that is AWS Bedrock Playground, and Amazon Q. Okay, and the advantages of generative AI services like accessibility. and cost effectiveness, having a knowledge base. So all these are the other aspects that you need to be aware. And the domain three is applications of foundation models. So I can say the learnings from the domain two is having an overlap with this domain three. So here, when they are specifying the details, they are mentioning the details as how to choose the pre-trained model and complexity of the model, customization. Here, when we talk about customization, what are the hyperparameters that we have got when we are dealing with such models, that is temperature, the top K, and how do we interpret such hyperparameters? Uh, yeah, and the input output length, how does it have an effect on the same? The knowledge of RAG, that is retrieval augmented generation, and what are the business applications that we can create? And the services that would help us to store the embeddings, that is OpenSet Service, Aurora, Neptune, Document DB, RDS for PostGRE SQL. So these are all the other services that are important. And the another question which will be related to the agents, especially the multi-step task, and the prompt engineering, the various types of prompt engineering, the various types of improving the foundation models, the like RLHF technique, and the idea about the fine tuning. And there are some concepts which are around the adapting the models for specific domain, transfer learning. So these are all the other aspects which would come under the domain three. And the knowledge of the metrics that are relevant for assessing the large language models. And then on domain four, this is about the guidelines for building a responsible AI solution. So this involves identifying the features of responsible AI, like how do we measure the bias, how to measure the fairness, inclusivity, robustness, safety of the large language model, and how can we make use of various tools that we have got to build the responsible AI, which would include the guardrails that we have got with Amazon Bedrock. And what are the best practices that we need to follow when it comes to selection of the model? And the key characteristics of the data set, and the effects of bias and variance, and how do you actually monitor the large language model? So these are all the core concepts that you need to be aware over here in this domain number four. Lastly, the security. Now, when we say security, it involves data during the storage, the data in the transit, the knowledge of data lineage, and the interpretation of the large language models and the machine learning models. So we have a SageMaker model card that would help us to look into the documentation of the same, the best practices for secure data engineering, and what are the key things that we have to consider when we are thinking about security and the privacy aspects of an AI system. And it's also important that we look into the various services that can further assist us in governance and regulation compliance. Like this will involve config, inspector, audit manager, artifact, AWS Cloud Trial, and AWS Trusted Advisor. So from the examination standpoint, if you're aware about the definition of these individual terms that you would see, you'll be able to confidently answer, I'll say 3 to 4 questions just by understanding the definition and how it works. Because like the questions will be something as they'll come up with a question that says as you're working with the generative AI application. Now, you for this generative AI chatbot, you want to look into the what like how many API calls have been made for this model. So in such scenario, which service do you recommend, or what do you use it in such scenario? So those kind of questions is what you would expect in this domain. And the data governance strategies, the model monitoring, observation, and what are the best practices that we need to follow, and the other things about the processes to follow the governance protocol, like policies, review cadence, review strategies, governance framework. So these are all the core aspects that would be under this domain number five. Now, as you can clearly see, so this overall certification is spanning across 5 domains. So if you ask me from easy to hard, so it is easier to prepare for domain number 5. You just have to understand the key services that we have got in AWS, and you'll be able to easily clear and get the most out of this 14%. So at least like you'll be able to answer majority of question. So 1 or 2 questions will be there. It will be about the cross account. Let's say you have a generative AI in one account and you want to access the generative AI model from the other account. So what kind of security practices that you need to use it? So you can expect 1 or 2 questions about that. But the remaining questions under this domain 5 will be, I'll say, in basic to intermediate level, where the understanding of various services, you'll be able to clear it. And domain number 4, uh, I would say it depends on your foundational knowledge about this generative AI. So if you're aware about the various services, if you just go through the listed services in the AWS, especially in the documentation that we went through, then you'll be able to clear this 14 plus 14, I'll say overall, like you can actually answer 25% of the questions that you would see in a confident manner for your examination. Now, the remaining topics, that is domain 1, domain 2, domain 3. So this is where I would highly recommend you to build your foundation and build your foundation strong and learn the concepts with a strong foundation. The reason because all the questions that you would observe in the examination, so you'll be able to answer it confidently only if you know how and why it is being used. Like for example, uh, you'll get a question in the machine learning. I'll just give an example. It will say as you're dealing with a data set and you want to predict the house prices. Now, which of the following metric that you can use it in order to measure the uh, like effectiveness of the machine learning model prediction? And you'll have the options that says as F1 score, mean squared error, accuracy score, precision score. So these are the 4 options that you would get. Now, if you're someone who has got this strong foundation, it's easier for you to say that it's a mean squared error because that's the only regression metric, and the remaining metrics that you would have is a classification based metric. So to be able to score it, is to score well and to answer the questions from the 3 domains, that is domain 1, domain 2, and domain 3 together, you need to have a strong foundation and ensure that you focus on the foundation, understand what it is first, then understand how and why aspect as well. This will ensure that your learning journey is in track and it is in alignment with the expectation that is set by AWS. Okay, so this should be your learning strategy for preparing for your AWS certification examination. So with this strong strategy that you have now understood as how you need to prepare and the type of questions, so let's take a look into the next thing as what we have got. See, here, uh, in order for you to progress in your learning journey, so as I mentioned, so like this is a community where we are in this like to help you progress and to ensure that you are able to solve all these problems that we have got during our learning journey. So what we have got in our learning journey for you is in this learning journey of this certification program or this bootcamp program that we have with Manifold AI Learning to help you progress in the learning journey. So what you have got is to ensure that you stay on track, and we'll be with you for accountability, and we'll be able to celebrate the small victories and the community support. We'll be presenting you with 2 challenges. The first challenge is called as mid-program challenge, and this would happen between week 2 to week 3. The expectation that you would be having is you have to attend all the live sessions. You have to attend the inner circle calls. Inner circle call is a live session that we would have on every Thursday. And this is for the learners to ensure that we interact over the weekdays as well to discuss some of the key things. And I'll be giving you some of the additional tips that you need to focus on for your preparation. And this is like a weekly checkpoint to ensure that you are progressing in the learning journey. Okay. You have to attend all the live session, attend the inner circle call, and you'll have a mid-program quiz, and you need to score more than 75%. Now, once you score it, so you'll be able to achieve the mid-program milestone, which is called as the on path to AWS AI certification, which is the mid-program milestone. Then in this journey, you'll also have one more challenge with us. So this is this is actually called as the AI Finisher Award. Now, this is another award that is provided to you by Manifold AI Learning. So the prerequisite is obviously you have to have a prerequisite of mid-program milestone to be completed. And you should get certified from AWS within 30 days of course completion with us. And if you complete it, you'll get a t-shirt or a kit. So this, we are still in discussion with our vendor. So you'll be either receiving the AI Finisher t-shirt or AI Finisher kit, either of them. Like we are still discussion, you'll be getting the details as we progress in our learning journey, but you'll get a physical product from us for getting yourself certified from AWS. And just to let you know, guys, since we are from India, so this AI Finisher Award will be delivered pan India only. Like if you're staying outside India, you can let us know your family's address where you want this kit to be delivered. Okay, this is what we are there for you to support you in this learning journey. So as promised, like when you're learning with us, you're having an accountability through weekly inner circle call. We are going to celebrate your small victories. See, it's not getting certified is a final goal, but we'll be there to celebrate your small victories. So when you complete, it is between week 2 to week 3, when you complete the mid program and when you score 75%, and we'll be there cheering for you for your small victory as well. And as a community support, as I mentioned, this like we'll have a weekly inner circle call. And at the end, once you complete it, you'll get an AI Finisher Award from Manifold AI Learning. So this is how your learning journey would look like. Now, I can see most of you who are part of the generative AI mastery that we have got who are already in the community of Manifold AI Learning. Now, if you're not part of Manifold AI Learning community, I invite you to be part of this Manifold AI Learning community through our Silver membership program. So Silver membership is nothing but the generative AI package mastery that we have got at Manifold AI Learning. Now, this is a journey that you would take with us. It's not just a course that you will be enrolling with us. It's a membership program. You will have the community support, the accountability, and what you would get as part of this Silver membership program is you'll get the self-paced courses, which is worth 80,000 rupees. Like all the self-paced courses that we have published through the various marketplaces, that is Udemy, you'll be getting the access of those courses in the generative AI domain. So currently there are more than the 15 courses that we have got under this Manifold AI Learning Generative AI package, which includes the practice test for this examination that we are talking about. And the live certification that we have got, that is live bootcamp, live AWS AI certification bootcamp. So that's actually worth 15,000 rupees. So like last time, if you remember, we had conducted the NVIDIA certification and some of the learners have paid 15,000 rupees to be on that individual bootcamp. Now this time, as a promotional offer, we are offering this for free for all the silver package members. And you'll get the community access to Manifold AI Learning community. You'll be getting those details very shortly. And this is actually charged at 30,000 per year. And you'll be getting that access to the community for lifetime for the silver members. And you'll get to be part of the weekly inner circle calls with me every Thursday throughout this program, which is actually costed at 30,000 rupees per year. You'll be you'll be able to participate in the certifications that we'll be driving, which is the one that we have launched just now. Like as I mentioned, you'll be able to be part of this AI Finisher Award. And as we progress, we are going to launch the future hackathons in this AI. You get to be part of it. And AI hackathon price is 30,000 rupees. And as you can clearly see, the total value of this program is 185,000 rupees. And the special price for the learners who are registering with us today is 8,999 rupees plus GST. Now, this is the price that for the learners who are registering with us, and this is the special price for today. But for guys, let me tell you one thing, okay? So do not register to this journey if you're not having, or if you're not having the uh, like if you're not having the TMFS, like which is what my mentor calls it. That is, if you're not able to dedicate your time, if you're not able to dedicate your money, if you're not able to dedicate your focus, if you're not able to dedicate your space, do not join the community. I'm straight away telling you. The reason is, if you want to succeed, like if you want to be successful, okay, I would require the commitment from each of you. Like, I want each of you to be committed in this learning journey in our community. Okay, this is a precious community that we have got, and we want this community to be full of action takers. Now, if you're not someone who is not an action taker, so please do not join, because this is not a one that you would just buy the course and keep it with you. This is something that you'll be with me in your learning journey, and we want to give you the best, and you should be an action taker to be able to get the most of this learning journey. And guys, that, yeah, like I think the special price is 8,999 and the today's deal is 7,999 plus GST. But I've got a very special announcement. I think most of the learners